When most people hear the Dodge Charger, they think about a true American muscle car, a loud V8, rear-wheel drive car, and aggressive styling. But what if I told you that Dodge once made a Dodge Charger that didn't even have none of that? Wasn't a V8, wasn't rear-wheel drive, it didn't even look like a Charger. And that, my friends, is the 5th gen Dodge Charger. And for many enthusiasts, this car is not a true Charger to them. When you do all these rankings of what's the best Dodge Charger, this car is never on the list. So why did Dodge decide to take one of their iconic muscle car names in a Dodge Charger and do something completely different? And today we're going to talk about it. Before the 5th gen, the Dodge Charger had already built a strong reputation. Back in the late 60s and early 70s, Dodge Charger was one of the icons of the muscle car era. Cars like the 1969 Charger helped make the legendary brand. They were bold, powerful, and aggressive. The Dodge Charger represented everything people love about American performance. So when people heard the name Charger, they expected power, a V8, rear-wheel drive car. The name carried weight. And what Dodge did next shocked so many people. To understand why the 5th gen Dodge Charger happened, you have to understand what was happening with Chrysler at the time. By the late 1970s, Chrysler was in seriously trouble financially. The company was close to bankruptcy at the time. At the same time, 1979 oil crisis caused fuel prices to rise above the world. Gas became more expensive. Buyers started moving away from big V8 muscle cars in favor of smaller fuel economic vehicles. That shift hit America automotive very hard. The era of the big V8 performance cars was fading, and Chrysler needed to make a turnaround at the point.
I've been here since 4:30 this morning. It's ridiculous waiting online here. I couldn't get gas Tuesday. The line was about 8 blocks long. It was ridiculous. It was unbelievable waiting online. I can't take it anymore. I've been carpooling. It's my turn to get gas, and thank God I'm able to get gas today. I don't care how much it costs. I just got to get gas. Got to get to work.
And so they did. They got Lee Iacocca, the godfather of the Ford Mustang. When he came into Chrysler, he helped to save the company immediately. One of the biggest successful projects that he did was the K-Car platform, which gave Chrysler affordable front-wheel drive cars such as the Dodge Aries and the Plymouth Reliance. These cars helped Chrysler stay alive, but they saw the success for this and they decided to bring back the Dodge Charger, but not as an American muscle car. In 1982, Dodge brought back the loved name Dodge Charger, but instead of reviving it in a rear-wheel drive car, V8 muscle car that people love so much, they decided to release the car in a small front-wheel drive hatchback car based on the Dodge Omen platform. The 5th gen Dodge Charger was produced from 1982 to 1987. It had a small 4-cylinder motor, front-wheel drive, and it had economic roots instead of the previous generation. For Dodge, this made sense. They wanted a smaller car that was fuel efficient, and the Chrysler needed an affordable car that people wanted. So they thought bringing back the Charger name, people were going to get hype about it, and we're going to go sell out crazy. But for enthusiasts, this wasn't for them. It didn't feel like a Dodge Charger, so this car didn't really sell that much. It looked nothing like the previous Chargers before. Under the hood, it didn't perform like one either. So Dodge Charger name was back, but the muscle car identity was gone.
If a manufacturer doesn't have enough confidence in the quality of what he makes, he doesn't have the right to ask you to buy it. And it doesn't make any difference what he makes. Washing machines, toasters, or roller skates. Me, I'm in the car business. And I've been saying for a long time that Chrysler makes cars that are as good, if not better, than anything coming out of America, Europe, or Japan.
But here's the thing that gets interesting. The 5th gen Dodge Charger wasn't actually a bad car for what it was. In fact, the Shelby Charger version was pretty respectable for its time. They had better performance, turbo option, and they were actually pretty fun small cars to do. Think about it. It was low-key like a Honda Civic of its time. So the problem wasn't the car itself was terrible. The problem was the badge on it. You gave up an iconic name to a car that didn't really live up to it. If you think about it now, the 5th gen Dodge Charger is low-key like the Dodge Neon. They low-key should have called it the Neon instead of the Charger. Because when people hear the name Charger, they expect something better. A big power, rear-wheel drive car, and American muscle performance. The 5th gen Dodge Charger did not deliver that. So even though it may have been a decent economic sports car, many enthusiasts saw it as a fake Charger. And if Dodge had changed it to something else, put a different name on it, like maybe the Dodge Neon, maybe this car would have been so successful. But by putting the name Charger, you put so much pressure on this car, and it didn't live up to that expectation. And that explains why the 5th gen Dodge Charger became the forgotten Dodge Charger. It never lived up to its legendary name as previous generation did. It didn't have the same power. It didn't carry the same identity. And because of that, most people skip over it when they talk about the Dodge Charger history. People usually go straight from the 1 to the 4 and into the modern days of the 6th gen, 7th gen Dodge Charger. The 5th gen Dodge Charger is often left out of everything. And in a way, Dodge kind of understand that, because when the Charger's name returned in 2006, they brought back what people actually wanted: a rear-wheel drive car, a V8 in aggressive styling. Yeah, it had 4 doors, but it had everything else what a Dodge Charger actually is. And because when the name Dodge Charger returned in 2006, Dodge brought back what people actually wanted: a rear-wheel drive car, a V8 aggressive styling. Yes, it was a 4-door, but as we know today, everyone loves the 4-door muscle cars. That brought Dodge back to its original roots, not to like import kind of scene. It made the 5th gen feel so odd in a weird chapter of the Dodge Charger's history. So was the 5th gen Dodge Charger actually back? Not necessarily, but does it identify as a real Dodge Charger? That's where the debate begins, because even though it carried its name, the Dodge Charger, it didn't have no significant meaning to its old predecessors with the loud V8s, the rear-wheel drive car, and the aggressive styling. This car had none of that. For its time, I get it why Dodge did it. There was a big fuel problem that was going on in the world. But I think if they would have, I'm gonna kind of low-key predict the future, what Ford did with the Mustang EcoBoost. The Mustang still looked aggressive. It was still a rear-wheel drive car, but it had a 4-cylinder with a turbo, and people loved it today. I think this car, if they would have done something similar to it, kept the aggressive styling of the previous generation, kept the rear-wheel drive car, and then put a 4-cylinder made with a turbo. You just kept the regular 4-cylinder in there with an NA. I think the car could have done something pretty good. But at the end of the day, it's all in the past. We move forward. Good thing that Dodge kind of bounced back when they did it in 2006 when they released the 6th gen Dodge Charger on the LX platform. So thank God they did all that stuff. But let me know down below what you guys think. Was the 5th gen Dodge Charger underrated, or they should have scrapped the idea and never did it and waited to call the 6th gen Dodge Charger the 5th gen Dodge Charger? Let me know down below what you guys think. And I'm your boy VTech Ali, and I'm going to catch you on the next one.